So this is Saturday by Oge Mora. This morning, Ava and her mother were all smiles. It was Saturday. Because Ava's mother worked Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Saturday was the day they cherished. On Saturdays, they zipped to the library for weekly story time. On Saturdays, they lounged in salon chairs and got new hairdos. On Saturdays, they picnicked in the grass for a peaceful afternoon at the park. And on this Saturday, they would also ride the bus across town for a one-night-only puppet show. The day would be special. The day would be splendid. The day was Saturday. Ava and her mother could hardly wait. So zoom, off they went. But when they reached the library, story time was canceled. Oh no, Ava cried. It's canceled, wailed Ava's mother. And we see at the help desk at the library, there's a sign that says, "Attention patrons, story time is canceled today. Please join us next Saturday." They paused, closed their eyes, and let out a deep breath. Don't worry, Ava, her mother reassured her. Today will be special. Today will be splendid. Today is Saturday. So, zoom, off they went. But as they left the salon, whoosh, their hairdos were ruined. Oh no, Ava sobbed. Our do's, boo-hooed Ava's mother. They paused, closed their eyes, and let out a deep breath. Don't worry, Ava, her mother reassured her. Today will be special. Today will be splendid. Today is Saturday. So, zoom, off they went. But their peaceful afternoon at the park was loud. Oh no, Ava groaned. What did you say? It's too noisy, yelled her mother. They paused, closed their eyes, and let out a deep breath. Don't worry, Ava, her mother reassured her. Today will be special. Today will be splendid. Today will be ruined if we miss that bus. So, zoom to the extra special, one night only puppet show they went. We made it, Ava exclaimed as they arrived at the theater. Thank goodness, Ava's mother sighed in relief. Hooray for Saturday, they cheered. Tickets, chirped the lady at the door. Ava's mother reached into her purse. But the tickets weren't there. Oh no, Ava's mother gasped. I left our tickets on the table. As Ava watched, her mother crumpled. I've had it, she sighed. Story time was canceled, our hair was ruined, the park was loud, and now we're missing the puppet show. I'm sorry, Ava. We look forward to this all week, and I've messed up everything. I ruined Saturday. Ava was quiet for a moment. Then she closed her eyes and let out a deep breath. Don't worry, Mommy, Ava reassured her. Today was special. Today was splendid. Saturdays are wonderful because I spend them with you. So, slowly, hand in hand, off they went. When they reached their apartment door, Ava turned to her mother. She had an idea. What if we... Ava started. You know we could, her mother began. So they did. What a beautiful day. And this story was dedicated by the author to my mom and to all of the spectacular adventures we've shared. So I would use this book in preschool, kindergarten, and first grade. And I think it would actually make a really great read aloud. So if I flip back to the beginning, we can see that there's a lot of repetitive text in the story. So here we see the author going through all the days of the week: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And in preschool, kindergarten, and first grade, the calendar is something we often focus on. We teach the days of the week and the months of the year and all of those things. So this would be a good part to start and get students involved in the read aloud. Many of the students might be learning or might already know the days of the week, so this would be a good place for them to join in with the teacher and start to read with the teacher out loud. Some other words that are repeated throughout the story are words like Zoom and phrases like off they went. This happens repeatedly every time they're going to a new destination. Zoom, off they went. So students will definitely start to pick up on those phrases and can be encouraged by the teacher to begin to say those phrases and those words as they come up in the story. Other phrases like whoosh, when Ava and her poor mom, they get splashed by the puddle. Students will probably love making that funny sound and acting that out when that part comes. The phrase, or the sentence rather, today will be special, today will be splendid, today is Saturday, that happens over and over in the story, right? Every time Ava and her mom have something unfortunate happen to them, that is what mom tells Ava to comfort her. And we know that at the end of the story, things come full circle. And when mom is very upset and she's crumpled and she feels like she ruined the day, that is when Ava, who is very smart and astute, thinks back, well, what did my mom say when things go wrong? And she says these words to her mother: today is special, today is splendid. And so that is something, because it's repeated so often and it's actually a really important part of the story, that students can also read along or say along with the teacher. And the alliteration, the S sound, special, splendid, Saturday, that could certainly be catchy for students and help them to remember the words and sentences. Another thing I would do with this story is I would practice predictions. So the structure of the story is actually pretty repetitive. They go to several places in their community, and there's always this kind of little cliffhanger. But when they reach the library, and we see what happens when they actually reach the library, something goes wrong. So the first time that this happens, students might not really expect it or be able to predict it, but it tends to happen over and over again. So now when they're leaving the salon, but as they left the salon, I would stop here and I would say, okay, children, what do you think is going to happen next? And some students might start to get it, some might not. But by the third time, they're going to the park, but their peaceful afternoon at the park. At this point, students might get the pattern that every time Ava and her mother go somewhere, something goes wrong. So at this point, I would expect some of my students to begin to come up with ways that their afternoon at the park might go wrong. And even if they don't get the exact reason that things go wrong, at least they're starting to understand the pattern and the structure of what's happening in the story. And then, of course, when they get to the theater, you have that cliffhanger again. Ava's mother reached into her purse. Okay, boys and girls, what do you think is going to happen? And at this point, students who definitely have the background knowledge of going to a theater or a movie, they would know that you need tickets. You can't just walk in. So some of them at this point know something is going to happen, something's going to go wrong. Well, what could go wrong when you are looking for the tickets? Mom's looking for the tickets in her purse and she can't find. What could be going wrong? Oh, she forgot the tickets. So at this point, I would expect some of my students to begin to make accurate predictions as to what's going to happen next. The next thing I would do is I would talk about problem and solution. So there's actually quite a few problems in this story. Every time Ava and her mom try to do something fun together, something goes wrong. So the solution, well, is surprising to me as an adult, maybe not to the children, but the solution is actually in the hands of Ava. Ava is the one, when her mom is super duper upset, she thinks, what did my mom tell me when I was upset, when everything was going wrong? Oh, today is special. Today is splendid. And she repeats those words back to her mom. And she kind of saves the day because she comforts her mom. She's hugging her mom. Things are looking up. Mom is feeling better. And then they get home. And it's Ava is the one that has the idea to kind of make their own fun and have their own puppet show. So really, Ava is the one who saves the day here. She is the reason the problems are resolved. So I would talk about that with the students. So not only would we name the problems and the resolution, but have them reflect upon that. Did you expect Ava to solve the problem? What would you do if you were Ava? How would you react to having such a bad day? If your mom, your dad, your grandma, grandpa was super upset, what would you do? And have them make a text to self connection and really put themselves in the position of Ava to evaluate her decision and also to say what they would do if they would do something differently. This can also have tie-ins to social emotional learning, which is something that is very big this year. So you could talk about resilience. You can talk about what to do when you are discouraged, if things aren't going your way, or you feel like, I just want to stop trying. This would be a good story to use to talk about situations like that. And also to talk about kindness, because Ava could have been mad that her day was ruined. She was looking forward to Saturday all week. And she wasn't mad. She did not yell at her mother. She did not cry and stomp her feet. She kind of took a deep breath. She used her calming skills and she had good modeling from her mother. And then she was able to kind of reframe the situation. So I think this would definitely have good connections for social emotional learning. The final thing I would do with this story is, after reading it several times and making sure students got really comfortable with it, I would use it for narrative writing. So in preschool, we wouldn't exactly do narrative writing, but we're beginning to write with our preschoolers. So I might give them the writing prompt of, think about a place in your community. Where do you like to go in your community? Do you like to go to the library? Do you like to go to ShopRite? Do you like to go to the hair salon? Where do you like to go? And then they can write a simple sentence. I like to go to, and of course, they might not be able to spell, and that's okay. They can use drawings. They can use dictation. They can use invented spelling. Any way they're comfortable or feel like they can express themselves. And then I would have them illustrate. And I love the illustrations in this book. It is a Caldecott honor. So when I taught preschool, we had a huge art center. I would get all different types of mixed media, newspapers and fabric and pattern paper, and kind of have them make their own art depicting their favorite place in the community. And you can then make that into a classroom book that you could keep in your library, and students can flip through and see where their friends like to go. And it might be fun for them to say, oh yeah, I've been to that shop, right? Or I go to that barber shop. So community helpers and community is a big thing we work on in preschool. Even in kindergarten, I think that would apply. So that's how I would write in preschool. And then for kindergarten, first grade, I would do more narrative writing, where students would have to think about maybe their best day ever or their worst day ever, and then say 1, 2, or 3 events that happened during that day, Make sure they're sequenced, give adequate detail, and reflect upon it. So how did you feel? How did you feel on your best day ever? How did you feel on your worst day ever? And of course, even at that age, they can also illustrate, because we want them to be able to connect text and illustrations, and we want them to be able to add detail. So maybe a child has an idea that they can't yet get on paper, but they can do it through their drawing or their art. So even in kindergarten and first grade with their narrative writing, I would still encourage them to illustrate. And then, of course, we'd go through all the stages of writing and finally publish their work so they can share it with others and maybe even their parents or other people in the school community. So overall, this book was called Saturday by Oje Mora, and I think it is an excellent read for preschool, kindergarten, and first grade.